What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's good to be back. So we're back for another week of Sims, as we're going to be looking at, again, one of these last matches we have for Chelsea Football Club before the season wraps up here. In the middle of May, I think, is when it'll wrap up for us with the Prem. So this week, tomorrow morning, we have a match against Everton, the Toffees. So they're always kind of a tough customer, in my opinion, especially under David Moyes. But before we get into that, I really quick wanted to just hop over to a story that I just saw broken, I think this morning. It's a rumor, so like any other Chelsea content person, I'm not claiming that this is what's actually happening, but it could be. So it's a rumor, so it's exciting. It's fun to get excited about stuff. So let's go ahead and hop over there and take a look at this story. All right, guys, so you see right here, if you don't know this is Gregor Kobel, and he's the starting goalkeeper and has been for a couple years now for Borussia Dortmund. And he is 27, big guy, 6'5", Swiss international goalkeeper. Lots of experience, Champions League. Obviously, they were in the Champions League final. What was that last year? I would say an elite goalkeeper. I wouldn't say he's hasn't really ever been in the conversation for best or top 3 or even probably top 5 in the world, but he's up there. I'd say he's probably a top 10 goalkeeper. Some of you might disagree with me on that, but I think he's been in that conversation for now a good couple of years. And like I said, I like his age for a goalkeeper, right? Goalkeepers tend to be a little bit slower in development, and so 27 is a really good age, where it's similar to Robert. I think a little bit younger than Robert Sanchez, but he's been playing the top flight of the German league for a long time now. I don't know where he played before Dortmund, so if any of you guys know, go ahead, leave that down below, because I'm not sure about that. But I just wanted to react to this story because I saw it this morning, and I think it's a rumor, of course, but it is kind of getting at a problem that I think is our biggest issue that needs to be solved this summer. So this is being reported by Get Football, which is apparently a home of French football in English, which I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing any crossover of why they should be covering this story, unless they just cover anything in world football, because he doesn't play for a French club or in Ligue 1, and he's not getting rumored to be sought after or courted by a French club. So interesting to me, because apparently Chelsea and Newcastle are in for him. Not anything super serious yet, but if you look down here, this is written, I don't know if it has author attribution yet, but we're gonna hop down here real quick and look at this story. So right here is what we're looking at. Obviously, we know Georgi Petrovic is coming back in. I'm a big fan of him. I don't know why we loaned him out. I would personally be content if he was our number 1 next year, see what he's like, especially because we have the likes of Mike Penders as a prospect who's supposedly the next Courtois. You never want to get too big on these guys yet, too excited yet, but I would be fine with that. But anyway, let's go ahead and read what this says. So it says Petrovic in particular is coming off a strong loan spell at RC Strasbourg, who's kind of, our sister club. However, it appears that Chelsea are still sounding out the goalkeeper market. Foot Mercado understands that Chelsea have inquired about Kobel, who could leave Dortmund this summer. So that sounds interesting, right? It sounds like we are interested. However, I'm confused because it says right up here in the same article, reports in England have suggested that Chelsea will not look to further strengthen their goalkeeping options this summer. So not really sure what that means. If we don't strengthen them, it better be because we're thinking Petro is going to be our number 1. Because if Sanchez and Jorgensen are the tandem next season again, I'm going to have issues. And I'm sure you will as well. So anyway, that's an interesting potential with Gregor Kobel possibly coming in. Again, very early days with that kind of rumor. You see rumors like this every day come in, like Van Dijk. I don't think that ever had any legs to it, just getting it for clicks. But I have heard these rumors before, so I think there might be a little bit of fire to this smoke. But anyway, what would you guys think about a guy like Gregor Kobel being brought in? Would you rather just have Petrovic spend more money on the striking position, or what would you rather do? And that's my question for you. And you should comment on this down below. Would you rather fix, if you could only fix one, would you rather fix just goalkeeping or just striking? And I know you might immediately be like, oh, goalkeeping, Will, it's not even a question. And I would lean that way as well. But if you look at statistic issues, our errors in goalkeeping and also our failure to live up to expected goals in the front are both very bad problems. So there's kind of a good argument for either. So if you could only fix one, would it rather be goalkeeping or the number 9 position? But anyway, that's just one story. Let's go ahead and hop into building the team together and jumping into the sim. All right, guys, so here we are. As you remember, we're just on FC25. We're building a squad together. We're simming it, seeing how we can do, building it to kind of how we want it to be, but also what's realistic, so we're not using injured players, anything like that. We're playing a 4-2-3-1 with obviously Cole kind of being that free roaming position, the right and left mid, playing real wide, which is how we play in real life as well. This is similar right here. This starting 11 is similar to what I'm going to do with it, but there are a couple changes we are going to do. So first off, you see Malo Gusto starting here. That's still kind of left over from when Reese was injured. Now flip-flop it. Our boy Malo is now the one hurt. If you saw him go off in the previous match, kind of holding his hamstring, that gave me severe worry. I feel like we've experienced that terror so often. Whenever you see a player pull up like that, like when he's running no contact and just grab his hamstring, it's terrifying to see. But I just read an article reviewing Enzo Maresca's presser, and he apparently said it's not as bad as I thought, and he could even be back by next weekend for the Conference League, which is huge. That is huge news, guys, because both of our right backs are so injury prone. It feels like that you need to have them both available so that neither one's getting too much of a workload. But anyway, he's not going to be playing tomorrow, but he does seem closer than I think. So Reese is going to slot in there. He seems to be fairly fit. If you're wondering why he's not starting, why he's not getting 70, 80, 90 minutes every match, it's because they're really trying to, even more of a cautionary way than they have in the past years, for weeks and even months on end, keep his minutes kind of at this lower end to hopefully get to a point where he can get back to what he used to be, which is my hope and prayer, because I think you guys know I'm a big homer for Reese. I'm a loyalist for him. I think if he's healthy, he's such an outstanding player, and I hope that this kind of technique, this process we're doing with him, will pay dividends. But anyway, he's gonna be starting in the right back position. Then we got our tandem in the middle. I'm going Trev and Levi. Neither of them have been amazing lately. Levi's maybe solidified a little bit more the past couple games. We need them to be strong. And then Mark on the left, we're going to keep as well. The middle of the park is going to, honestly, the rest of this guy's going to stay mostly the same. Moises and Enzo are Sharpie in. Sancho on the left, I think, has really put a good foot forward the last couple weeks, which has been huge, because he's kind of been bouncing around. You know, people have been saying, oh, he's great in the Bundesliga every time, and he can't ever get his foot set in the Premier League, and he's not going to find his way in Chelsea, and then after that, there's not going to be a top club that's going to want to accept him again. I see those arguments. Sometimes he can be a bystander. Sometimes, in my opinion, his final approach in the final third is not good enough. He kind of always hesitates to shoot, which is really frustrating, or just kind of loses the ball to the fullback. But lately he's been a lot better. His final product's been much better. Obviously the late equalizer, which is a banger against Ipswich Town, and also providing a good amount of assists as well as his teammates. Cole, you know, still kind of in this odd season for him. The last like 2 months or more. I think he's fine. Keep him going. Tell yourself it's fine. He's got to be fine. And then on the right, I'm actually going to pull Madueke, not because I'm saying he's doing terrible or anything. I just think you reward players for performance, and I think Pedro had obviously saved us against Fulham, and I want to keep him going, so we're going to put him on the right. And then up top, it's going to be Nico. He hasn't quite been back to himself lately since coming back from injury, but that's to an extent expected. So keep him going. He seems fit to me. And if we need, I did read, I'm not sure about this, so you can let me know if I'm incorrect. Don't take this as gospel, but I heard Mark Yu might be fit. So you could potentially see him come for a short 10-15 minute cameo, which I would love, because I think that kid's really exciting. And then lastly, which is cool news too, Lavia, I heard, is also kind of in a similar place to Reece James, just further behind in the process, where he's participating, but they're being very cautious with him, which again I think is good. So he's definitely not going to start. Obviously, he's not going to have many minutes, but maybe he'll get a short cameo at the end. Like maybe he'll be one of those subs in the 85th minute to kind of slow things down. So that's what we're looking at. Let's run through it real fast. We got Big Robbo, goalkeeper of the Prem, in the back, and then in the right, starting from the right, we got Reece James, Trev, Levi, and Mark. what is it, like paellas or Mark Cucurella, whatever. So hopefully he continues on his form. And then in the middle, we got Enzo and Caicedo holding it down. Enzo, of course, kind of joining the attack more. Moises just be the destroyer that he is. And then Pedro Neto on the right, Cole in that free roll in the 10 in the middle, and then Jaden on the left. And then up top, we got Nico. So that's going to be our squad. Let's make sure there's no changes we need in the bottom for reserves. I'm going to bring up Fofana, still not ready. Tyreek to be there, and we're fine there. So this is what we're going to do. Let's sim it, and let's see how it goes. Again, sim's been going terribly the last couple weeks. Horribly. So bad. Somehow we're still in the same table position as we are in real life, I think, though, in 6th. So let's see how this goes. Hopefully it goes better. In real life, guys, we need this win desperately. I was listening to a podcast that said in order to get in the Champions League spots, which are probably the top 5, actually they are the top 5, we need to win more than likely 4 out of the last 5, which means we need to win this game against Everton because it's the easiest one we have left. So let's go ahead and sim, see how this goes. My prediction in real life is I think we're going to win 2-0. I know you guys are probably going to get upset with me for being such a, positive person, but ultimately that's how I am. So we're going to move with it. But anyway, also they have James Tarkowski out, who's probably their best defender, except Branthwaite maybe. And that's a big blow for them, whatever you think about him. So I think we'll get a win. Everton they're not a great team. They're not terrible. They've been much better under Moisey, but we should be getting a victory. So that's my prediction, 2-0. Probably won't happen in the sim, but let's go ahead and see. Oh my gosh. Oh. And Enzo Maresca's out. Although I guess I'm kind of the coach in this sim, huh? Pedro Neto gets a goal in the first minute, and then we end up losing 2-1 from a goal from, who did I talk about? Branthwaite, and from Alcaraz. If that happened, guys, that would be the end of the Champions League hopes. So that's probably the end of our Champions League hopes in this simulation. We need better players in this game, guys. I don't know. These people are simming so terribly. The team's not that terrible, but holy cow, that's so poor. 2-1 loss to Everton. Hate to see that. So let's go ahead and hop over. Let's wrap up some final thoughts on this. All right, guys, so obviously we see another loss in the simulation there. Hopefully that's not what we're going to have happen in real life. A goal from Pedro Neto, nothing from Cole, nothing from Nico, so continuing to kind of suffer there. And honestly, that's kind of indicative of real life, right? We need production from our big boys. We need production from Nico. We need production from Cole Palmer. And that's what I think we really need to start happening tomorrow morning against Everton. So whether or not you're totally plugged into the end of the season, you think we're going to get in the Champions League spots, or you think we're going to lose every game and fall out of it, I urge you, stick with it. Continue supporting the boys. Support this channel if you can by following along. Subscribe. Like this video if you can. If you subscribe, you can just see that we post these videos every week, normally Friday or Saturday, for the upcoming weekend fixture. So we're going to continue doing that until this season ends. And then we got new plans I'm really excited for in the summer as well, which we'll talk about in the coming weeks. But guys, that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you this coming week. Up the Blues.